Hello, hello, hello. I just need to get a couple more things ready. Ugh, apparently my nose has just started running. That's great timing. But we are going to do some more thread painting, I guess. We're doing more straight stitches. This light is not helping me the way I want it to. And it's so tangled. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Many tangles. Hello! I'm going to go like that. And basically just not be able to see where I'm stitching. Oh wow. Yeah. This is happening. But it looks way better now. You can actually see on Instagram. And better on Twitch, which is good. I need to click that. I need to double click that apparently. I need to mute myself so I'm not hearing myself talk. Alright, let's do this. We are gonna get our dark green today. I've still got my little teensy needle. I got my other needle underneath, so this is the one I've been using for everything else. This one I'm doing just because I don't want to put big holes in my piece. So just a reminder, or letting everyone know who may have missed yesterday, we're using 2 strands of floss and we're going to finish our trees. I got this tiny little cut of 4 strands, so I'm just going to use this up. But anyway, how is everyone? I hope we're all good. I hope we're all staying warm. I got a nice big cozy hoodie on today. Just gonna put that all there. Oh wow, this is a bit ridiculous. I got a big ring light in my face now. Anyway, so one thing as a reminder to keep in mind is we want to try and make our lines on the sides nice and straight. If you can't, if you have trouble or whatever, that's okay, because trees are not perfect. I'm just going to double check I'm using the right colour. Yeah, I am. Okay. Must be the lighting. You know what, I'm going to try this on the other side of my phone. About there. No, I can't do that. I could... No, it was better where it was. Alright. I get the hint. Okay. I was trying to fix the lighting so that I could see what I was doing, but also so you could see the blend of the dark green and the light green a little bit better. But that's okay. So we're making sure that we try to pierce some of the previous stitches so that we're blending nicely. I'm getting everything all marked out to then fill in the gaps. I got a big cat hair there. No, it's just my eyes. I need to get my eyes tested again. Getting old sucks. But anyway, how's everybody doing? Are you caught up to where we're at, or where I'm at? I noticed someone was ahead of me. I think it was Shelley. Got tagged in a story earlier today. And I was like, wait a second, we haven't done that much. I actually meant to share it. Oh, I need to silence my phone or else it's going to keep buzzing your screen over what I'm doing. I'm about to run out of floss. I'm going to be sneaky and I'm going to tie them off at the same time because this is also another shortcut of floss. Finish my tree. I saw that. Sneaky. Well, it looks very lovely. Okay, I'm going to fill in some little holes that I've left. And I'm dragging my needle up through the gap. What have I done? Well, okay, one sec. I didn't pull it all the way through properly. Okay, that's great. So I'm gonna have 3 tails. Whatever. Could have sworn I pulled it all the way through, but apparently I didn't. Alright. Oops, I left a little gap here. I nearly caught up just the leaves and lights. I don't remember the last time I was a participant in a stitch along, but I do remember having so much trouble keeping up. That was my experience regarding a reel I did, I think it was last week. Okay, that's all I can do because, yeah, I messed up. I didn't pull it all the way through. So I'm going to tie off all these loose ends and then we'll continue. Scissors. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tie these 2 together in a double knot. There we go. I obviously did it deliberately. I do everything deliberately. What am I saying? Everything is deliberate and amazing and perfect. Alright, I gotta cut some more thread. So, a reminder, if you're on Instagram, you can use the question bubble thingy to ask any questions you might have. I will see it because I've got the screen right in my face. I have someone leaving me a bunch of feedback from Etsy, and they are making, I'm appreciative, but they are making so many little notification bubbles. Can we talk about needle sizes? Of course we can. Other than not wanting to make bigger holes in the fabric, what are other reasons for using certain needle sizes? A smaller one, so this one has a really small eye, so obviously that's really hard to, and kind of impossible to a point, to thread. But the smaller the eye, the easier it will run through the fabric. Usually bigger needles have a bigger eye, and so that's why they make a bigger hole in the fabric. There are needles that you can get, which I can show you an example of, where the eye and the needle body are all the same width, and those ones just glide through. They're amazing. I've got these Milliner needles, which are not cheap, but so you can see the eye of the needle is the same width as the needle itself, and so they glide through the fabric, but that's a really thick needle, so you want to be using all 6 strands for that kind of needle, because then all of the floss that pokes through the fabric kind of fills up the hole. But it's, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, it's just preference and what works for what you're actually stitching at the time. I do like to try and keep my needle on par with how many strands of floss I'm using, but there's no reason why I couldn't use the other needle I was using before. So this one here. I am having a little bit of trouble pulling the needle through. Ow! Just stabbed myself. Through the fabric at the moment in some places because of that eye. And if you think about it, oops, whoa, sorry about that. If you think about it, the eye of the needle gets chunkier where it, right at the end where the floss is looped over. I got a big tangle at the back, there we go. So you do sometimes want to have a needle that will have a big eye in it so that you can pull through without it catching constantly. I feel like, personally, the size of the needle is more important when it comes to cross stitch, because you don't want to be using a really big needle for that, because otherwise you make the holes of the Aida too big, and then you can see too much background light poke through your work between every single little square. Hopefully that helps. That was a lot of babble. See, I'm having to wiggle it out through the fabric where there's a lot of, where I'm poking it through and there's a lot of floss in that area already. Gonna fill in this little gap here. I just realized I forgot to share the photo of me and my setup yesterday. You know what? I'm going to write myself a note and I'm going to fix my sock because I don't know about you guys, but my socks keep sliding around my feet. So like the top part of the sock goes to the underside of my foot. It's driving me bonkers. Alright. I have written myself a note. Whether that remains to help in reminding me is yet to be seen. Because if you aren't aware, I have ADHD and I have therefore many notes scattered around the house of things that I want to do. So oftentimes, it doesn't matter if I've written it down, I need to actually action it. So why is this? I've got a big knot on the end of my floss. I'm just going to trim that. It's making a weird pull feeling. There we go. Come back! So this is a good time to remind everyone of a couple of things. It is Thursday, which means I will be streaming this evening at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I do that over on Twitch. You are more than welcome to join and do some stitching yourself or just come and hang out and chat. That would be super awesome. I'm hoping that I don't feel like rat poop because in 2 hours I'm getting my vaccination booster. I've heard many horrible stories about people feeling terrible after it, but I'm hoping that I'll be okay for the rest of today. And on that same vein, I will be updating my stories tomorrow or even tonight if something happens, about whether or not I might need to cancel the stitch along tomorrow. Not the whole thing, just the session tomorrow. So keep an eye on my Instagram stories for an update on that. If you don't see me post anything like about the stitch along to say that it's not running or something, then you can assume that it will happen. Alright, we're going to move down to the bottom parts of the trees now. And we want to make sure that we cover the little stump of the trees. I had the need to test after the booster, but my worst was 2 doses. Okay. Need to rest. Okay. My 2 doses, all I had after the fact was the dead sore arm in the injection site. So I'm hopeful that that means that I will get away relatively scot-free. But I know that I shouldn't assume. Hopefully you're okay after the booster. Thank you. I know I shouldn't assume. But even like if my arm hurts too much, and I'll be making sure I get it done in my left arm because I'm right-handed. even if my arm hurts too much, that stitching is uncomfortable, I'll err on the side of caution and say, I'm sorry, everybody. Ow! Oh. Could I just stop poking myself with the needle? That would be like super. Oh, it looks so cute. I just stopped and like looked at that whole tree. Gotta speed up. I want to do some beanie today. I think we all want to do some beanie. Do you have any advice on getting the bottom of the tree straight? I suppose for a tree it's not essential, but in case of needing a straight line, what do you suggest? So that's part of like a satin stitch more thing that I know. Yeah, I'm not worrying about it for this because it is a tree, and yeah, trees aren't perfect, as I keep telling myself. But one thing that I know what you can do when it comes to a satin stitch and making the end of it nice is to actually run a stitch along the bottom, like a really fat 6-strand maybe stitch along the edge of where you want to stitch, and do that first, and then you want to like go underneath, so you angle your needle so that you're going in like this. That makes sense? You're kind of curving underneath that horizontal stitch, and that gives you a nice, like, instead of it being all jaggedy like this looks like, it makes it a bit flatter, which you can obviously do for straight stitches too. I just know that as a thing people do for satin stitch. Hopefully that makes sense. But you want to be doing that stitch before any of your like top layer stitches. Because if you go and do it like even at this point, whereas if I was to come up here and then run my needle underneath all these stitches, it doesn't work as well. You're kind of more doing like a basket weave thing where you're seeing all the ends of the stitches. Hopefully that makes sense. Alright, so again we're covering up part of the base of this tree. I'm running out of floss again. Yeah, let me know if that makes sense. Ah, oh, lots of emojis. I love lots of emojis. Emojis and GIFs are the best thing for the internet. I try to keep like my emails and stuff professional, but it's so hard. Ah, thank you. And I'm glad that makes sense. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna flip my work over. I love that timing. You say it's so clean and organized, and I flip it over and you see all this this mess. Yay, emojis! My favorite is the monkey that is see no evil. I use that one a lot. And yes, any of the cat emojis are great. I kind of wish they would make dog ones too, to be honest. Oops. I'm sorry, I don't add anybody to be a part of the stitch along. If you've got any questions though, you can ask them in the question comment, the question thingy, and I'm happy to answer them, or you can write them as a comment if you don't mind everyone knowing that you're the one asking the question. I should do, my name is Abia and I love your handwork. You're my guide? I don't know what that means, I'm sorry. I love to learn from you. Ah. It's very tiny, but it looks like your icon, your avatar icon is a flag. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. My cable's going back in the way. Argentina. I don't speak anything but English. I apologize. I am monolingual, unfortunately. Oh, guide. So, in case you were wondering, it's spelled like this. English is a terrible language, in my opinion. I feel very fortunate that. Oh, thank you for translating, and thank you so much. Yeah, I feel very fortunate that I learnt English growing up because I would absolutely hate to learn English as a second language. It is so bad. It makes no sense. And I only know this because I did take German during my high school years. I don't remember like a lick of it, unfortunately, because I never had an excuse to use it, so I didn't retain any of the information I learned. But it made way more sense than English does. Alright, I need to fill in some holes on this one. I'm excited. We are going to get through these trees. What's the time? Oh, good. Good, good, good. Because we want to do some new stitches, don't we? Sorry, itchy nose. And the silence is deafening. I'm so used to always having some noise on, whether it's from my phone or in my headphones or like when I'm in the car. I'm always listening to something. Drives my kids mental because I play terrible things. It's too loud. All they want to listen to is Disney songs, which I can get behind. But when my special needs 7-year-old wants me to put Into the Unknown from Frozen 2 on repeat for like a whole half-hour drive, that's when my eyes start twitching, you know. So yeah, like I said yesterday, doing 2 strands for this is tedious. There's nothing, I'm not gonna like call the embroidery police or anything like that. Yay, emojis! Oh, a peacock. That must be, you must have iPhone, because I don't think I've got a peacock. There's feathers. There's like little hugging people. Ugh, emojis are good. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm not going to call like the embroidery police on you or anything like that if you use more than 2 strands. But you will find that it does look flatter. It will blend nicer. And like I said yesterday, if you use 1 strand, it's going to take even longer, but it's going to blend even nicer. So I felt like 2 was a good compromise. Let's add 1 more stitch right in here. And then call that a day. Yay, we got some trees. Look at that. Alright. Let's cut all that off. Excellent. Let's look at the nicer side of my work. Alright. We're going to move up here. I have to move my camera to... Alright. So, new stitches. I have like kind of not really copied my pattern for mine. So don't worry if yours looks a little bit different. We're going to do exactly the same thing. First, we are going to do, we'll do it in alphabetical order. We're going to do the closed feather stitch. So for this one, we're going to have 4 strands of floss, and if you're following my colors, it's not correct. Whoops. So don't follow the pattern. The pattern says that we should be using red, and we are not using red at all. We are going to be using, what did I use for this one? My apologies, I'll just quickly look. Closed feather. Okay, we did that. I'll have to update the pattern for anyone that purchases it in the future. But we're going to be using our light blue, which I have as 159 DMC colors, and the closed feather is this one here. I'm just checking the time and everything, sorry. So yeah, we're going to be doing this one here. This one has a couple of little straight stitches just to like round out the beanie, because it does not like leave a nice end to it, if that makes sense. But as you can tell, we do see through to the fabric in all of this. Before I start stitching, if you don't like the way this looks, you will need to do something like what we've done down here, either a straight stitch or a satin stitch, and you will need to stitch over that before you do all these designs on top of it. So you'd want to use like, I don't have it in here, but you'd want to be like, whatever variegated floss you use, you want to pick the darkest color from it. This is obviously, again, different from what I've done on here because I couldn't get the same color floss. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah, if you want to do that, go for it. I'm not going to because I like the fact that I can see through to the fabric. It shows off the stitches better. So that's how I'm going to demonstrate it. But yes, we're going to have 4 strands. We're going to be doing the closed feather stitch. So I already have 2 strands cut here. I'm going to use my bigger needle because it pulls through better. And off camera, I'm just threading my needle and going to tie it in a knot. And then cut off my little tail bit. Alright, which way did I do it? Here. Oh, I did it both ways. Aren't I clever? Okay, so for the closed feather stitch, we're going to fill in the empty gaps here. So this one, and then we kind of like sort of do it here. We go through the little circle because we're going to fill that up with the turkey work and that'll like cover it. But yeah, basically we're going to come up before I start. The hardest part about this stitch is that we want to imagine that there are like 2 lines, a third and 2/3 of the way horizontal through this gap. So like there-ish, and it's really hard. This is why it's hard, because they're so close together, and about there-ish. Hopefully you can see that and that makes sense. Missed what color you said this was. This, because I'm going with the colors that I pulled from this one, I'm still using the light and the dark blue from here. If you are using something like, so I'm going to be using 159. If you are using this off blue color, I can quickly look up on the internet what its color options are. What number is it? 4230. Oh, it's a variegated. I keep getting them mixed up. I apologize. Here we go. I keep meaning to write a post for this on my site. So 4230, the colors that make up this one are 322, 809, and 3840. I'm going to copy that into the chat. So 322, 890, 3840. So those three colors make up this variegated floss. If you want to pull from those three, I'm pretty sure the dark is the 322, the mid color is the 3840, and the light color is the 890. I'm guessing, I'm not certain. I'm not going to go and check my floss for that. We are going to be first using the light color from the variegated floss that you've picked. But again, I'm following the pattern as best as I can, so I will be using 159, which will not match this exactly. But that's okay. For me, I'm happy with that. So, we have a question. Can you share what stand you're using? I'm about to buy my first one. This is an LBS. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'll write it as a comment. LBS. It is a desk stand. I also have a lap stand where you like stick it under your butt or under your thigh, and I recommend you get the one that doesn't have a hoop stuck to it. You want one, I'll just move this down. You want one that has a clamp that you can put whatever you want into it. Do not go for the cheaper option if you get the Elbus, I don't know, and that has a hoop attached to it already. So I'm going to get 4 strands out. Well, technically I'm going to get 2 and I'm going to fold it in half. I definitely recommend a desk stand if you're planning on like recording yourself stitching. It makes a big difference. Oh, I already got some. I already got floss out. Go me. I might need more later. Whatever. Anyway, okay. I'm back to where I was before. We have our 2 lines. One is 1/3 of the way through, and another one is 2/3 of the way through. What we're going to do to begin with is come up. Let me just make sure I'm telling you the right thing. We're going to come up in the corner, not of the corner of the actual like area we're stitching in, but the first 3rd line. Whoops. I've made a mess on my desk now, so I'm going to come up here and pull all the way through. I'm then going to go. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm going to tell you the right thing. What have I done? No, hang on. Undo. Pretend that didn't happen. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay, we're going to come up in the corner, the very corner. And then we're going to do as much distance as you want, but as long as you keep that same distance everywhere else, then you're set. We're going to go in on the 2/3 line and pull through like we did the lazy daisies, where you hang on to some of your floss. We're then going to step back halfway between those 2 stitches we've just done, where we've gone through the fabric, on the 3rd line, the 1/3 line. This one's really hard to explain, so I apologize. We're going to pull, and then sort of the same distance, we're going to go back onto. Oh, what are we doing? Sorry, give me 1 sec. I've like totally turned myself around. I'm like having a complete mental block about how to actually do this stitch. Yeah, I'm mixing myself up with the Cretan Stitch as well. I'm sorry. We might need to undo what we've done. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I apologize. I've gotten myself completely turned around. So I'm going to undo that. Because I've done a loop start, I have to actually I can't just take my needle off my work. I have to actually feed the needle back through. Alright. I was right the first time. We are going to oh my god, no, I know why I'm so confused. Oh, okay. Wow. Alright. Let's just rewind. I was looking at my pattern wrong as well as looking at, okay, so we're going to not do the closed feather stitch first. I am very sorry that I have been, my brain has just completely stopped working. We are going to do the Cretan stitch first. I've mislabeled my pattern, so I'm going to need to take this color off my floss. Closed feather Cretan. Yeah, okay. So I've mislabeled my pattern. Where you see the closed feather and the Cretan stitches, it's actually the other way around. The colors labeled are also incorrect. So because I have this floss color on my needle already, we're going to do, I'm making sure that I get it right before I say it. We're going to do the Cretan stitch. And I was going to look up how to say that properly first, but I'm guessing that it's correct. So, that is still this stitch here, this white one here, or not white, light blue. See, my brain is totally not working. This light blue one here, that's because I've got the light blue on my floss. It's the one that kind of looks like little hexagons, like the top half of a hexagon. And we do still need our two little third and 2/3 line. So we're going to come up on the intersection of the edge of the beanie and the first third line, which is there. We are then going to go into where it intersects here. So this is if this is a third and this is 2/3, then the one line. We're going to go into there, pull through, and then we're going to come up halfway between those two stitches vertically on the 2/3 line. I'm going to pull that through, and then we're going to do the same distance and come in on the intersecting line between the two different stitches. And don't pull through all the way. We're going to come up on the same line we started on. So the 1/3, I guess I should label them like numbers or something. So we've got line 1, which is, let me move this out of the way. Line 1 is this intersecting line between the two different stitches. Line 2 is 1/3. Line 3 is 2/3. And line 4 is the intersecting between the two stitches. So We're coming up on line 2. We're going to go in to line 4 and coming up on line 3. We're going to go into line 1, come up on line 2, and you notice we get this tiny little like a laced look, and into line 4. You can do these a lot wider if you want to. Like when I say wider, I mean you could go further along and do fewer of these if you want to. So I'm coming up at line 3 and then into line 1. Coming up on line 2, into line 4, up at line 3. So I'm going to get my pen again and I'm going to draw on the side of my thing here. So these are your 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're sort of making this kind of motion, and then this one, and then so that's the first stitch, and then hang on, no, I did it wrong. Oh my god, this has an erasable thing on it, so I'll just get rid of that. It's basically just water in this end. So that's like the first stitch, and then you're coming in and you're doing that. Let me know if that makes sense, because it's bigger to see. And every time you come back up through the fabric, this previous stitch is getting like snagged and pulled into the curve shape. So we'll keep going. We're going to go into line 1, up at line 2. Ow, poke yourself in the finger, don't recommend. And then into line 4. I'm going to run a little bit past the hour because I did have a big brain fart and had to just sort of sit there and think about what I was doing and what I'd done with the pattern. I do have a really stacked day, but I am going to try and find some time to fix the pattern and re-upload it so that everyone who's purchased can get the proper like instructions. If I don't get to it today, I will endeavor to do it tomorrow. Okay, so hopefully that makes more sense with my little sketchy sketch drawing. My floss is so tangled. And in my hastiness, I didn't do the initial little stitch that I was going to explain. But I'm going to have to change floss anyway. So, alright, to finish it off, I'm just going to poke it into the top corner because we need to go into line 4 anyway. And then I'm going to go in at the bottom corner on line 1, so the intersection of the edge of the beanie and line 1, and then I'm just going to do a little straight stitch to give it the curve. I meant to do that over here too. I don't have enough floss on my needle, so when I'm going to reload it, and before I start here, I'm going to do just a little straight stitch over here. It makes like such a cute little pattern on the back too. My goodness, I hate when that happens on my stitch alongs, where I've never made a gaff that big, but it makes me very flustered when I feel like I'm a fraud and don't actually know what I'm doing. So again, my apologies, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. I need to bring back my pattern. There we go. Okay, we've got lots of floss on my needle now, so I should have plenty to do the rest of the stitches. So the way I did it on this piece, I went the other way. You don't have to do that. I'm not going to on this one because I want to make sure I remember to do this little stitch here. So I'm going to come up here and then just go in, and then I'm going to come, oops, I'm going to come up and then in. Okay, so I'm not going to draw on the lines this time, we're just going to use imaginary lines. We know what you're doing. Oh, thank you. So I'm coming in at line 2, where line 2 would be, so a third of the way through, on the intersection of the edge of the beanie, and I'm holding this out of the way so that my little edge strand sits on top of it. So we come up at line 2, we're going to go in on line 4, hold the floss out of the way, go and come up on line 3, and then in on line 1. If you find that your like line 2 and line 3 imaginary lines are basically in the same level, that's okay too. This is a really tiny little space that we're stitching in. It won't make it as like pointy for the stitch, but that's okay. So I'm coming up on line 2, in on line 4, up on line 3, in on line 1, up on line 2, in on line 4. It's kind of like odds and evens, basically. Up on line 3, in on line 1, up on line 2, in on line 4. Hello! That's a lot of hearts. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness. My screen's going crazy. Alright, we'll do one more up to there, and then the little edge straight stitch, and then I'm gonna, because I've done them both facing the same way, I'm gonna start over here. I want to do my what'll be a big straight stitch as the edge. This one I definitely didn't do perfectly because I knew it would be mostly covered. So as long as you've got some color in there, then just go nuts, basically. Make it look as janky as you want it to. Now, is that an Australianism? Janky. For those of you who missed yesterday, I was asking about what was Australianisms and what wasn't. So with this one, once I'm finished, I've noticed something that I don't like about the stitch. It's this big gap in here, because my first stitch went up and that one ends with a down. See, I'm going to be going like this. I'm not going to pull too tight because I want it to curve. See, that looks like there's a big gap here. So what I'm going to do is just add one little stitch in here to finish it off. So I'm not going to do a straight stitch along here because the turkey work little pom-pom is going to sit over the top of it. But that is not the closed feather, that is the Cretan stitch. Again, I apologize that the pattern is mislabeled. I will fix it either today or tomorrow, and it'll be less confusing. But thank you so much, everyone, for your patience and your understanding and all of your emojis. This is what we are going to be creating. I was hoping to do both of the different stitches in here today, but this took longer than I expected. So but we'll get there. We'll do that one hopefully tomorrow. Again, check my stories on Instagram to see to confirm whether or not I will be doing the stitch along tomorrow. Depends on how I feel. If we don't do it tomorrow, I am not going to be doing the stream on Monday. That's like a definite, because my kids are home from school and I cannot do a stitch along with them because they are needy AF. So we will be back on Tuesday, if not tomorrow. So thank you very much. Oh, look at all those hearts. That's amazing. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you stitching with me and all your questions, and I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.